Hello, and welcome to the SAF Audiovisual Cast, where we, SAF, connect and share information from top university officials, faculty, and administration directly with SAF students and parents. Thanks for joining us.
First, I'm your host, William, with SAF and IES in Chicago. Our guest here today represents the University of Victoria from lovely Canada. She is the ELC Director, Miss Jackie Prowse. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, William. Great to be here today.
And thanks for being here. Now, Jackie, you are based in Canada. You are the ELC Director. I've got lots of questions for you, but maybe we could start with some introduction of what you do for the University of Victoria.
Sure. So I'm the director of the English Language Center, and we have over 3,000 enrollments every year in our face-to-face classes. And our students come from all over the world from, I don't know, it's around 40 different countries. So of course, with COVID, we are missing our students face-to-face very much, but we're still welcoming a lot of them online, and that's been great as well.
Okay. And so now, if you are willing to, we like to get to know each other a little bit here. Would you be willing to tell us a little bit about your background? I bet it might contain some international education.
Sure. So let's go way back. I was born in Vancouver, which is just across the water from where I am now, but I've grown up in Victoria and I've lived here for quite some time. I've traveled around the province a lot. I was in co-op when I was a university student, so I've lived in several different places in British Columbia. And then I lived in Japan for 4 years where I was teaching in Tokyo. Since then I've been back. I've been at Victoria UVic for a long time, about 30 years now. And I've taught here, I've been head teacher, I've been the director. I have a degree from UVic. I have my master's from Temple University, and my doctorate is from University of Calgary. And I've been involved with international education, as you said, for many, many years. I've traveled to, I don't know, 50 countries, and I've slept on all 7 continents, so.
Wow, that is quite the bio, and thank you for that. Also, it's a joy for me to meet such interesting professionals, and I think for our listeners, it's really it's compelling to understand when we're hearing from a representative of University of Victoria. They're also very experienced, and so that's something very lovely for our listeners as well. You did mention a couple things that I'd like to hear a little bit more about. Now, we had mentioned both Canada and British Columbia and Victoria. And I also have to mention that you are our first Canadian institution on the SAFcast. So maybe we could start with Canada. Can you tell us a little bit about for us, it's the North, and for people from further away, it's that nice place in North America?
Well, it is a very nice place in North America, so I like that stereotype. Canada's a fairly small country population-wise. We have about 40 million people, so we're not large, but we're very large in space. Most of the people live along the border where it's warmer. It's a beautiful country. It's very safe, very friendly. We have a fantastic education system. Our education system is centralized, so most of our universities are public universities. There's very few private, which I think is different than a lot of countries. What else can I say? In Victoria, we're probably one of the nicest places in Canada because our weather is nice all year round. Typically, we do not get snow because we're on the water, so our summers are around 25 to 30 degrees, which you would say in the States around 75 to 80 degrees. And then in the winter, it is around 45 to 50, so usually above freezing. It's gorgeous in Victoria. It's a small city as well, about 400,000 people. It's big enough that we have opera, live theater, wonderful restaurants, but it's small enough that it's very safe and very, very friendly.
Cool. Now, you are in British Columbia, and I think a lot of our, as you know, we, with the SAFcast, we'll talk to our students in East Asia, mostly our Chinese potential students, and they will definitely be familiar with Vancouver. maybe
Yes.
more so than some of the other names we've talked about so far. But I believe that Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, it's near you guys.
Very near, yes.
So that would be the big city, and then you guys are a lovely little. Would it be equivalent of like a college town?
Um, Maybe. So we're actually the capital city. Vancouver, though, is the largest city. I would say the population here is three groups. One would be university students and people who work at the university. Another would be government workers because we're the center of government. And then the third would be retired people. Other parts of Canada can get very, very cold and snowy in the winter. And older people don't want to shovel snow and they don't like walking when it's slippery. So a lot of them do move out here as well. So those are kind of our three populations.
Sure. So a small city in a very nice place. And I need to double check with you something else because British Columbia, now from my visits and as far as I understand, you guys have it all. You have the beaches and you also have mountains nearby. Am I off base?
No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So you could potentially go surfing in the morning and skiing at night. Not if you're studying all day, but somebody could, maybe on a weekend, right?
So potentially you could, but probably the days that you go surfing are not the days that you want to go skiing. So you probably ski in the winter and swim and surf in the summer. You could do it in both days, but you might need a wetsuit to do that. It'd be a little bit cold in the water.
Cool. Now we've heard a little bit about the area, the west coast of Canada, and Victoria, the town or the city. But let's hear a little bit more about the university itself. Can you introduce us?
Sure. So in Canada, we classify universities into three types. One is mainly teaching. That's the smallest type. Ours is called a comprehensive university. And then there's doctoral universities. So we are comprehensive universities, which means we're about middle size. We have about 23,000 students in undergraduate and graduate programs. We're research focused and we have, I think we're ranked in the top 1% in the world for our research impact in sciences. So we're very strong for research. We have about 18,000 professors and around 16,000 support staff, 1,800 professors and 1,600 support staff. Our campus is huge. It's park-like. So it's a lovely place for students to come and, you can walk around, you can walk it through the woods, or you can sit by the fountain and have your coffee and study with your friends. So it is a really, really beautiful place. And I really recommend it for people. It's
very cool.
I like smaller, more beautiful places. And this is that type of place. It's just a very calm place that's great for students.
Can you tell us about your favorite place on campus?
There's a couple. So I think my most favorite place is probably the University Gardens. It's actually a very small area of land, but they've designed it beautifully. And the first couple of times I went in there, I actually got lost. And I'm walking around trying to get out because I was late for a class. And I'm thinking, how can I be lost in this little tiny garden and I can't find my way out? And after about 10 minutes, I got out, but it's lovely. They plant flowers to bloom at all different times. So whenever you go in there, there's something blooming. There's a beautiful pampas grass and bamboo garden, which I really like. So that's my most favorite. But I think for the students, what they really like is the center of the campus. There's a fountain right in front of the library. And there's always events happening there. So, you can get your coffee at the library cafe shop. And then there's usually bands playing or a barbecue or different things like that. So it's a really active, kind of noisy place that the students who like more atmosphere would probably enjoy.
Now, today, something that we're looking at is a change in international student mobility due to COVID-19. Would you be willing to share a little bit about what things have been like in Victoria regarding COVID-19?
Sure. Victoria is a very small city and we have lots of outdoor spaces and the weather tends to be very good. So we've been very lucky. We have not had major problems. I mean, we have problems. Right now, I believe there's 12 active cases on the island. I think most of them are in the Northern Island. They're not necessarily in Victoria. So we have done quite well. Of course, we're still quarantining and we're keeping social distance, but we've done well. And as a small city, I think we have an advantage that way. Vancouver's not doing badly. They're having a few more cases. And I think in the province, we're having around 100 cases a day. So we consider that to be quite high. And we're now being asked to be a little bit more cautious to social distance. Our Thanksgiving, it's October 12th is coming up. So we've been asked, you know, just to keep it to immediate family and not to invite other people in, things like that.
Well, thanks for sharing. It's very valuable and important to our listeners. And also, I will say to you, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
As we record today, it's actually the beginning of the national holiday in China and also the Mid-Autumn Festival. So holidays all around, and happy Mid-Autumn to you as well.
Yeah, you too.
Now, as mentioned, we're here under different circumstances. It's a really cool chance to talk and find out a little bit more about some online possibilities. Now, specifically, I'm looking at the Victoria language programs. And as the ELC director, I think I've got a very good source of information, right?
Yeah, so when COVID happened in March, it was actually really terrible timing. We were just at the end of our winter program, and we had to transition immediately onto online. We had to get people home because the airports were shutting down. So it was a really difficult time. A lot of schools, I think at that time, just decided to do remote learning where, you know, you stick a professor in front of a camera and they teach their class. And that is how we ended the term. But since then, we've actually put a lot of time and study into how to make a good online program. And we've really developed a good foundation of synchronous and asynchronous learning, which I think the students really benefit from. You know, people have all different schedules and you can't necessarily be in a class for 4 hours a day. So with this blended learning, the students can do a lot of work on their own time. The teachers are to guide them. There's forums, so you're still interacting. And then they meet online with the teacher a few times a week to practice what they've been learning.
So let's think about overseas students for a moment. Can you tell us a little bit about what would make the offerings for learning English language with Victoria Online appealing to overseas students?
I think there's a few things. So I think the ability that the students can work on things in their own time is very helpful. So if you're, you know, you have a part-time job or you're in school or whatever you're doing, you have to complete tasks every day, but the time of day is up to you when you can do it. So there's a lot of flexibility that way. And then the times when we do have face-to-face classes, we are choosing around 5 o'clock Victoria time, which in China is 8 o'clock. Once we have the time change, it'll be 9 o'clock. In Japan and Korea, it's 1 hour later. In Mexico, it's 2 hours later. In Brazil and Peru, it's 2 to 4 hours later.
Now, I do think you mentioned something pretty interesting there, that your timing works for the students. For example, for SAF students, we're strictly speaking to Korean, Chinese, and Japanese students. And
right.
Also, I think there's something that is very interesting, if I hear you correctly, that you mentioned that my potential class as a student enrolled would not just be with other Chinese students. So
that's right. Yeah.
So you've mentioned Mexican or Brazilian students. Can you tell us more about the classroom makeup?
Yeah, so we have two types of programs. One is custom, and that would be with a university partner, and then it would just be their group. But most of our courses we call open enrollment, so anyone can take it. And we get people from all over the world. And in fact, in the current session, we have one person from Iran, one person from Iraq, and one person from Saudi Arabia. And I'm not quite sure how they found us or where they're there, because those are not our traditional markets. So I guess with online, it's actually expanding our range outside of our traditional markets, which would be China, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Brazil, and Peru are probably our largest ones right now.
Okay, but very cool. So a student enrolled still has the potential to be in a class with students from all over the world, including people even enrolling from tougher time zones in the Middle East, right?
That's right, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
we've been getting very good student evaluations lately, and one student wrote how she was really impressed with the class because she did make friends with her classmates. And in fact, even the course was over, she kept in touch with them. So they're still meeting on Zoom to practice their English and chat about what they're doing.
Very compelling, a compelling reason to enroll. But I'd also like to maybe cover some of the basics a little bit more. We always like to get into some of the specifics. And so maybe first, we did talk about how those courses would lay out. What about some of these benefits that I've read about that are special to University of Victoria? One of those I read was called a cafe social.
Yeah. So besides their regular classes with their teachers and classmates, we have Cafe Social once a week right now, and the students can log on and have conversation with Canadians, and there's different topics every week. So they meet with people from other classes and with Canadians to talk about different topics like food from your country, you know, your favorite movies or music, things like that. We also have a Social Connect site where they can go on and read interesting things about Canada, what's going on. Recently we had someone's pool, a moose jumped in it. So there was some article about the moose and what it was doing there and different things like that. There's a video tour of Victoria. So just different social things, and students can post, you know, about their pets or their jobs or whatever they're doing. So it's a really fun way to interact.
So a moose jumping in a pool, my reaction, I feel like I want to say, oh, Canada. Very
it does sound
cool.
pretty typical Canada stereotype.
Right. Now, we have some pretty cool study opportunities through the University of Victoria, specifically language. We've been talking a bit about the general possibilities. Can you maybe take us through what an example week would look like, a study week?
Sure. So probably one of our most popular courses right now is called English for Global Communications. It's a 4-week course. It's a short course, and students would be expected to be, we call learning hours, about 10 learning hours a week. So before the course starts, you would have an orientation. So we would show you how to use Zoom. The platform we're using currently is Moodle. We're going to be switching to Brightspace in about a year, but right now we're using Moodle. So we would show you how that works and how to navigate it. So everyone should have a good idea before the class starts. And then the teacher would send the student a welcome in the first, the week before the class starts. So the student should go into the site and complete the first day's lesson. Usually it would be introducing yourself and watching the teacher's introduction video, just so you kind of get an idea who everyone is, so you could look at other people's videos. And then you would have the first class where you would start to do some activities. And then every day you would be doing activities and exercises to practice, you know, your grammar or themes or whatever the teacher's teaching that week. And then you would meet in face-to-face to practice what you were learning. In this course, there's about 7 hours of asynchronous learning and 3 hours a week of synchronous learning where you meet with your class.
Okay, so it's mixed up between learning on your own and then also meeting different classmates and meeting your professor or your instructors as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about the instructors involved in the courses?
Sure. So most of our teachers have been with us for quite a long time. They're all certified English teachers, and most of them have been teaching for 15 to 20 years at least. I was talking to one teacher, because of course online is a little bit new for us too. And at first the teachers told me they were very nervous about online because, you know, in class you have such a strong connection with your students and you really get to know people's personalities and things like that. But he was saying that he felt in online, he actually had an even stronger bond with his students, because not only are you meeting with the class during the virtual times, but you're meeting with them individually as well. When we say studying on your own, you're not really on your own. The teacher's there to guide you. There's a forum on the site where you ask questions and the teacher responds. So if you're having trouble and it's not a virtual time, the teacher can come online and help you with what you're doing. And there's also forums where you're posting and other people are responding. So it is very interactive, even though you're doing it on your own time. But we have found that the teachers are really enjoying it. I think they're enjoying teaching from home. I've heard some of them are wearing pajama bottoms while they're teaching, which is fine because from the top up, they look very professional. But I think they're really enjoying the interaction with the student and getting to know them as individuals.
Very cool. Now, I feel like you might have suggested something that might not just be for your instructors and teachers. It, maybe others have gone down that path once or twice as well. Perhaps some of our students as well.
I know when we're doing the cafe social, because I've joined a few times to chat with the students. I have had a student last week from China, and she wouldn't turn her camera on, and I can't remember what we were doing, but you know, you had to have the camera on. So she's like, no, I'm still in bed doing this. So she had her stuffed animal go on camera and talk for her.
Now, I wanted to make sure to ask you, is this a certificate course?
Yeah, all of our programs, the students will get a record of grade and they will get a certificate as well if they complete. Okay.
Now, we've heard a lot about how this course could work within overseas student schedule, and also we've covered some of the basics, the format. You mentioned Moodle and Zoom, but what about the student profile themselves? Who would gain the most from studying language with University of Victoria?
So we're getting a real mix. So a lot of the students in the course I just mentioned are from our partner universities or people who don't have a lot of time. We also have a longer course, which is much more intensive. It's 100 hours over 10 weeks. And for that one, we're getting a real interesting mix. We're getting some people who are university students abroad, but we're also getting older people who maybe want to immigrate to Canada. So they need to have a certain level of English. So they're taking our course online to improve their English before they come here. We're seeing a lot of that. And recently we were talking to a partner in Brazil, and their university has agreed to fund 20 professors to come and take our course in January. So we'll have a large number of Brazilians in the English language intensive program for that. So people are coming from many, many different areas. And then there's a few who show up and I'm not quite sure where they come from, which is why I enjoy the Cafe Social, because I can chat with them and kind of find out, how did you find us and why are you here and what are you going to do? But most people want to improve their career or to get ready for grad studies, things like that.
Very cool. Now, we spoke a little bit earlier about some students who have gone through the program and have been happy with the results. But I'd like to go back to that if you'd be willing and hear a little bit more. Maybe if you can give us an example of somebody who benefited from the program.
Sure. I actually have a student testimonial. When the student went home, she wrote this, and I know one of her instructors, so she said, oh, this student wrote such a nice thing. I'm sure you'd love to see it. So it's like, yeah, this is excellent. Let me just share it with you if I can screen share. And there we go. So this is, these are a couple, but this one. So I enjoyed EGC's English for Global Communications course a lot, even though I don't have confidence to say that my English skills have improved. If I hadn't participated in this online study abroad, I wasted my summer vacation. It was a really good experience to participate in EGC course provided by the ELC. For any students who are thinking of studying abroad for the future and who are a little hesitant about studying abroad, this online program is great because people can easily participate in it. The things they need are only a computer and an internet connection, and they can also take classes suitable for their levels because they take a test at the beginning of the program. So we do have 5 levels in this program. I could learn English on interesting topics such as problems in my country and introduction of recommended spots for an international marriage. I keep in touch with other students after the program's ended. I really recommended this program for students who wish to make overseas friends and improve their English skills for a fulfilling life. So that was one of our Japanese students. So that was very nice of her to share with us.
Definitely, and thanks for sharing with our students as well. Now, I think that we've covered a lot today, and so I would like to change pace a little bit before we conclude. One of our favorite things to do is talk a little bit about food because our listeners are big foodies, and I should just say pretty much all of the country of China are big foodies, I think. Maybe if you're willing, would you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite or one of your favorite Chinese dishes?
Oh, I love mapo tofu. Sorry,
Nice.
my pronunciation is probably terrible, but the dish I really, really enjoy. I like spicy food, and I don't know, I just really like the combination of the tofu and the beef, and yeah, it's just really, really delicious.
Wonderful. That is a great answer. One of these days we'll make a cookbook of all of our favorite dishes from different faculty members. Now, I think it will be a good chance for me to ask you if you have anything else you'd like to share still.
Maybe I'll just mention a little bit about the university. We do, of course, if students want to study at UVic, they're more than welcome to. We have a pathway program where students who don't have enough English can do English language studies and university credit at the same time. And then after 1 year, they can enter fully into the university. So that's a very nice opportunity for students who want to study at the university. Students who graduate from the university can automatically get a 3-year work visa to stay in Canada after they graduate, and they can work while they're studying as well. So that's very popular with a lot of students. Students who are doing their university in China right now, if they want to come, not right now, but when COVID's over, if they want to come and study for 1 or 2 sessions, they can also come as a visiting student. To do that, they would need a 6.5 IELTS and a letter of recommendation from their home university, but then they can come and study with us if they'd like. So it's a nice opportunity to come to Canada and experience a different lifestyle.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's been really great talking to you, and I hope we'll see some of the students visiting us in Victoria when travel resumes.